Welcome to another video by Farrell's Technology. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Excel and using named ranges specifically in Excel. I had to do this quite a bit as a developer of spreadsheets when I worked for Boeing. In fact, I'm going to show you one of the examples that I actually used at Boeing to demonstrate what we do with those. So let's get started. Why use named ranges? The first reason would be a meaningful name is easier to understand and to remember. You have less errors when you're dealing with named ranges than you would if you were trying to remember this cell to this cell. And it allows quick movement from place to place within your spreadsheet. In other words, you can click on a named range and it quickly takes you to the place in the spreadsheet that range or that bunch of that bit of data is that you're using for, let's say, a drop-down list or to fill information such as summing information within that particular range. And formulas are a whole lot easier to build when you've got the name of a range rather than just simply a range that you've got to go duplicate and move from tab to tab potentially. Named ranges just make that whole process easier. Now, there are some rules that go along with named ranges. First of all, you can't include any spaces in the name. Second, names can only begin with a letter. In other words, you can't start with a number. So you couldn't use third QTR, like 3QTR, to be a named range. Although you want third quarter, that's the third quarter data, let's say, you simply place an underscore before the 3. Then you can use underscore 3RD, QTR. Symbols are not allowed in named ranges except the underscore or the backslash or a period. And ultimately, you're limited to 255 characters. Well, it actually defeats the purpose of a named range if you have these long verbose names. You might as well just put the range reference in there. So what I want to do now is to show you ways to name your ranges. And actually, there's quite a few. So let's start with using the name box. So what I want to do now is to show you ways to name your ranges. And actually, there's quite a few. So let's start with using the name box. First method is to use the name box. The name box allows you to look at and view other named ranges like the contract type, like I showed you here, and it'll take you to the particular area. I'll show you some other ranges, and each time it'll go to the range selected by the name. Now this document, I also have some cells where you can highlight the cells and then call it test named range. So you can highlight cells and go right up to that name box and name them directly there. Now remember, I stated earlier that we couldn't have spaces in the names. So in naming it, I need to take those spaces out. The next way that you can do it is to create names by using the new name dialog box, which you get under the formulas tab. And under the formulas tab, you'll see defined names that I'm pointing to here. Then when you click on this, you get the new name dialog box. Now, that's kind of cryptic. It would be nice that they named it new name up there. But now that you have the dialog box open, I currently have Dennis, Maxwell, and Matthew highlighted here. So here's my test name range. I'm going to just call it test in this case. And then you can note that it's listed on the static list, which is the tab that it goes to from A9 to A51. So when I click OK, I'll have a named range that's called test, and it'll stay right there on the list. So another way to name a range is with the Create from Selection menu item. So I'm going to highlight the named range here with the title of my named range included. I'm going to click Create from Selection. I'm going to make sure that the top row checkbox is checked, because that has the name that I want to use. When I click OK, we can go look at the named ranges to see what it did. Now, remember, it'll replace the spaces with underscores here. So when we're looking for it, we look down there and it says test underscore named name underscore range. So there is our original test, and the first one that we did, test named ranges without any spaces. So there's 3 different ways that you can name a range. Whichever one's most convenient is the one that you would use at the time. So managing named ranges is another thing. We have a thing called Name Manager up there, and using the Name Manager gives you a whole list of all the named ranges that you have in your spreadsheet. And you can tell that this spreadsheet that I worked on for Boeing is quite significantly long. I had a lot of complex things being done in this spreadsheet, so you'll see this one coming back time and time again. So here you can change the name, you can change the range that it refers to, you can click that up arrow if you want to go highlight the range and make sure that you get it right instead of just typing it in. It's really quite flexible, and it helps you to manage those named ranges that you have later on. Especially it's useful when your named ranges maybe gets a little bit longer or shorter. You can then readjust your named range to fit the actual data if the size of the data changes. So hopefully you were able to get some good out of this video. And if you did, please hit that like button. Let's get it out to others who might benefit from it. And please subscribe. So we'll be putting out more and more videos like this. And hopefully we'll be able to help you in the future. Thanks.